Hey guys, it's David here. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm going to be showing you 3 Christmas DIYs. These are all customizable. So you're going to put the pallet down and we're going to take our jigsaw and cut it up. It's important how you cut the pallet up in order to get all 3 projects out of one pallet. Notice the way I'm cutting it right now. So the fuller looking side needs to be face down. We're cutting straight edges on the back side right now. So you're just going to cut a straight line on, well, this piece right here is kind of broken, so I end up cutting it right in the middle. But you can see when I'm done that it doesn't really matter. So you can just take the piece and bend it off, boom, like that. That piece will be thrown away, but really this is about where you want to cut it. And as you can see, my jigsaw actually needs a new blade. That's why it kept going all over the place like this, so make sure you change out your blade starting a new project. After the back side of the pallet is cut, we're then able to just wiggle the middle piece off, and it should just pry right off like this. Boom, it came off. So all we're really doing is taking the nails out of the center because we just cut both sides. We freed those up, so we're able to just grab it and pull. Now that piece I just took away accidentally fell off, but that's totally fine. So next piece, we're just going to take it, and if you can't really grip it very well, it won't come up. You can just wiggle the piece back and forth, and it will come up. After we've taken all the boards off of the back side of the pallet, this is what we are left with. As you can see, the very bottom, the one piece did fall off, but that worked out in our favor for what we're doing. I'm going to lay this back down this way this time, so it's facing upwards, and we're going to be cutting this again, but we're going to make this into a Christmas tree shape. So you can take a Sharpie and draw lines if you want to. However, I chose to go ahead and freehand this part. I ended up moving the pallet up onto the table. It was a lot easier to start to cut. And remember, pieces like this can be used for firewood. So I had actually just cut both sides off. I will be using those as firewood. So here is the piece that we're now left with. All of the middle pieces are still attached to the very center, which is good. So I'm basically going to go ahead and cut this into the Christmas tree shape. And again, like I was saying, you can freehand this, or you can take a Sharpie and draw out a big giant triangle on the pallet. But you obviously want to make sure you have the top and the bottom correct. The bottom side will have the missing piece. So here's what it looks like. When I hold it up, you can see it's the shape of a Christmas tree. Pretty simple to make. You can stain this. You can also go back in and add wood so it's solid. I kind of like it like this though. You can add a little message and paint a message on there like Merry Christmas or something like that. Anyways, with the leftover pieces from what we just cut up, I'm going to be making these cute little houses. So I'm going to show you exactly what piece I'm talking about we're using. So the piece that came right off of this. So we had angled our cuts. All those pieces I gathered, and now we have a bunch of angled and then straight. So I'm going to put them together to make these cute little houses. As you can see, when you put them together, the points will come together and create this little house. So this side's too long, I need to cut it off. So I matched up 3 different sets to create 3 different houses. But I used 6 boards all together, if that makes sense. I had some other pieces that just were too small or were not angled correctly, so I ended up throwing those into the fire. So I did this to all 3 sets, and then I just used some wood glue to glue these pieces together. One of the sets I ended up staining, and then another I ended up painting. But again, those are completely customizable to however you want to style your little houses. And I like that there's 3 different ones with different sizes, different colors. So I will be showing you everything in this video. But before I jump into that project, I wanted to show you what I'm doing with the other half of that pallet. So this was the front side, or I guess the bottom side, but the very first thing that we cut off. Now there was those nails in the middle. We have to go ahead and pound those out. This is all I'm doing, and then I take the back of the hammer and pull it out. It's that simple. I like using this little wooden spool table because it has that hole in the center where I can just put that board to pound the nails right through. Pound them all out. So once I get all of these done, I'm going to get out the sander and sand all of the boards down so that way the stain can soak in pretty well and any paint and everything will go on pretty smooth. Everything will look like a nice finished product in the very end. So sanding is important also. You don't want splinters. And I'm going ahead and sanding these other pieces I had from a different palette that I'm going to be making another sign with. So this is a different palette, by the way. It's not the same palette, but I might as well throw it in this video. Get all my sanding done, out of the way. Alright, I'm ready to go ahead and start staining. I'm using this wood finish stain. I got it from Walmart. It's semi-transparent in the color Special Walnut. And I'm using Gorilla wood glue to glue my pieces of the house together to create the house, I guess. So I just put that wood glue on the inside edge of one piece of the house project. Then I went ahead and took the other half and just smashed it on together. Now I did end up putting rubber bands around these to hold them together, and then I set like some chairs on top so that way everything was nice and secure because I did not have big enough clamps to clamp these. Another great solution is to put some heavy objects on either side of them, push them together, and they should be pretty good with that if you don't have clamps. Alright, I'm moving on to the staining part. So I just take an old rag and I'm just literally dipping it right in the can and smearing this stuff all over the little houses. I end up doing one house with the stain and then I did the rest of the boards with this color as well. So one of the houses I left natural wood, like how it is. One of them I stained this dark color, and then one of them I painted. So again, you'll see that later on in the video. I do like that each board kind of took a little differently than the other ones. Some of them were like, darker than the others. It's like kind of cool, But I'm not done there. I'm going to be whitewashing these boards. So anyways, I wanted to show you the homes, how they turned out. Here is the little mini dark one. I think that it turned out pretty good. And then we have this medium one, which I will be leaving the medium one, the color it is. So just this light wood tone. It looks so pretty. That's the back side. That's the front. Gonna leave that one as is. And then this one, I'm gonna be painting this white because it has a lot of excess glue that I want to cover up in the center. So I'm gonna put these to the side and just go ahead and whitewash this really quick. I'm not gonna give a solid white, but we're gonna go ahead and do a heavy painting job, but not like fully saturated, if that makes sense. So I have just enough to show just very faint of that color, that natural color kind of seeping through there. I think it turned out pretty good. I like the texture that it kind of gives on the piece. These are how these pieces turned out so far. I'm loving the smaller one. I did that really pretty special walnut stain from Walmart. It looks gorgeous. So this is a really very neutral, dark, but very Christmassy. This will go good with lots of greenery with it. Then we have like this medium-sized little home that I just left the wood color it was. It is a little bit dirty, but I kind of like the feel, very rustic feeling. And this held up pretty good. You don't see any of the glue. That's the back side. It's a little bit darker for what I'm wanting, so I like the lighter side, especially against the darker wood. And then the taller version, where I had a little bit of glue and mistakes with the board, are now kind of hidden because I painted it this whitewashed, and that was super easy, just painting it white, and it really helped. I do have a bit of a gap in the top here, but I'm thinking I might go ahead and jazz this one up. Here's the back where you can see like where the glue was. So yeah, these are really cute. I think I'll put them together. So you could stop here and go really Scandinavian style, where it's very plain and these are your houses. Or you could jazz them up, put like a little wreath or something right here, put some words, some sayings like Merry Christmas or whatever you want to put. I love them displayed like this. I think that looks really cool. So yeah, I'm not too sure how I want to further do these. I really like them plain. So yeah, I might just leave these ones plain. That way I can actually put these up all year round and go for like a farmhousey feel and put them in my kitchen or something like that. So these will probably just stay with their colors, and that's pretty much it for these. But if you end up making something similar, you obviously can spruce them up to your liking by putting like maybe a wreath right here and it says home for the holidays, or whatever you think would be appropriate for your house. But yeah, anyways, I wanted to show you guys these pieces. They turned out pretty good. I'm loving this white one with this, like these little pieces of wood coming through. It looks so good. Now for the next project, I'm just taking one of these boards and I'm going to be painting them white. I actually ended up doing this with a couple different boards because I didn't like the way this one turned out. So I'm using like household white paint because it's thicker. And what I recommend doing is actually getting a bowl of water and watering this down. I was just trying different methods by kind of putting the paint on there. And you can see here, this is a different board. I just didn't like how opaque the white was in some areas. So what I recommend doing, like I said, is taking some watered down white paint, or you can do what I'm doing here, and I'm taking a wet rag and I'm just smearing the white all over the board. And this is going to give it a really deep white washed look. If you don't want it this white, that's when it comes in what I was saying about the watered down white paint. This just smears that white paint all over. It's still really pretty. It's not as opaque as the first one I did, which I didn't really like, but I'm just experimenting, I guess, with this. And I'm going right over that stain that I did earlier outside. I think this looks so good. It looks very, I guess, rustic in a way, like very farmhousey. Here are both of the boards next to each other so that you can see the difference. This one's super opaque. This is like the, I guess, watered down white paint, or more or less smeared with a rag. And again, in case you forgot what the boards look like, this is what they look like before the white paint. And this is, again, another like a different board. I do plan on cutting the board about right in here where these dots are. I want to cut this in half. I have 2 of these dark stained one that I'm going to cut in half and use for a different project. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and move over to another piece that is actually not part of this same palette, but I wanted to go ahead and show you the project in this video. This is also a cut board from a palette, not the one we just did, but I had it in my scrap pile. Figured I might as well go ahead and do a little Christmas decoration with it. So what I planned on doing was painting a white Christmas tree right in the middle of the board. So I just took the paintbrush and just started to paint it. I used the paint thicker down at the bottom and got kind of thinner towards the top, kind of how it would be if you looked at a tree outside. And it obviously resembled a pine tree, so it did that like triangle shape because it's again a Christmas tree. Once I was all done with this part, I went in and added these dots all over just to kind of look like they were ornaments or lights or something on the tree, but mainly it was all like super white and pretty, like it just got snowed on. Once I was all done and it had dried, I then cut up some twine into pieces that would fit just around the top and the bottom of the board. Turned it around, and then I hot glued the ends of the twine right onto the back of the board. And I repeated this with about 4 more strands on the top, and I think I did 3 on the bottom. Moving on to project number 2, I'm not sure if you remember these boards. They actually were not from the same palette, but I wanted to show them in this video. I'm just taking these popsicle sticks and gluing them on the back side so that the whole piece is secure together. This will allow each board to be connected, and I'm able to use this as one solid piece rather than 3 smaller pieces. So I'll just flip this over when it's all done drying. I'm going to be taking this right here, little pack from Michael's. It's only 99 cents. You get 4 pieces to the pack. I like these trees a lot better than the Dollar Tree version. I'm going to be using these ones from Michael because I like the size. Dollar Tree does have these larger ones, and it's $1. It's the same price, and you get 5. But they have a little star. They do have a hole, but they have a star at the top. And they also carry these ones, which are a bit smaller than these ones. There's no hole, but there's no star. So these are a decent choice as well. And depending on the size of your sign, determine like which size you want to go with. So I'm going to be picking up 3 of these guys and put this one to the side. I'm going to take these key rings off. Actually don't want to use these on my project. And then I can actually save these rings for a different project. The next thing I'm going to do is paint these a really pretty like sage color. You can pick this up from Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to be adding in a gray and a little bit of white in my paint mixture. Okay, so that's kind of what it's looking like. As you can see, it's a lot more gray than it is green. Soft green color is what I'm going for here. And I love this color. I think it's pretty muted green. Gotta make sure we get the sides. Pine wood, I believe. It's like soaking right in, so that's awesome. I think this color will look really good up against a really dark stain. Okay, once the trees are dried, we're going to put those to the side over here. I'm actually going to be stringing them onto a garland of beads. So I just took some twine from Dollar Tree, and I got these beads from Michael's. On the end of the twine, I just took a little bit of Mod Podge and twisted it around so that it was pretty stiff. It'd be a lot easier to string your little beads on. Now, in order to know how long I want to make my garland, I need to make sure that my sign that I'm using, that it's going to fit on here. So I'm going to just take the string itself, and I want it to drape from like the top and come down a little bit. So probably like, give or take, like this. So just so I know and like don't keep putting anything over here, I'm gonna go ahead and tie this off with a knot. And I want to evenly space out my trees, so I need to put them kind of like, well, so you guys can see what I'm doing. I think that'll look good. Maybe just a little bit over a bead up until about here. All right, then once we get to the first where we need to put the tree on, instead of just like putting the string through the little loop, it would actually hang this way. I want it to hang flat, so I'm gonna have to actually put it in a certain way. I'm making a loop that I'm actually gonna pull up through the back, but this needs to be attached to this side. And then I'm going to be trying, actually need to cut my beads for this part. I'm going to cut it a good little length on the end here. So this loop, as you can see, it's up through there. I want to take this end and pull it through, pull all the beads through the hoop. And then I want to take this end and pull it up through the hoop as well. And then I want to pull tight so that the tree is up against the beads. And I'll show you guys again if you kind of missed what I just did. I'm going to go ahead and put some more beads on. I'm going to pull that loop through the hole. Okay. So we have both ends kind of, you know what I'm saying here. You can see what I'm doing. Turn this around. And then through this hoop, we want to take our entire garland, everything, and pull it up through the hoop. And this side as well. The little tail needs to go through the hoop. And that's going to create a little knot around the tree. So we can adjust it by holding this little piece down so this doesn't move around, and then pull this tail to tighten the whole thing up. I think that needs to be a little bit tighter. There we go. I like that. Looks good. And then we can add our tree again. Now the end will be tricky. That's why you should leave a little extra, because we got to pull this very close to the end and pull all these pieces through here. So it's going to be a little tricky. Make sure you just leave extra room for pulling the whole thing through the little hoop. Okay, I guess my twine just broke. But that's okay. how did that happen? Like, how did this guy get over here? Okay, this is not what I wanted. No, because how am I supposed to attach the beads in a friendly manner? No, my string just broke right there on the end, which is fine. It's not a big deal. I'm just tying more string onto the end of it. Tying a pretty strong knot and getting that as close as possible to the tree itself behind it. Because I'm about to be putting some more beads on and I don't really want to see that knot. Okay. So I'll just take these pieces and cut them. I don't really need them. And then for extra secureness, I'll just dip my finger in a little bit of glue here. Okay, I'm gonna tie this off. All right, here's our cute little garland piece. Now you could totally stop here and leave it like this. I might add some words or letters, I'm not sure yet. So this is the top of our piece. I'm going to turn this around. It's kind of hard for me to film the entire thing because it's such a long sign, but basically I'm going to have these kind of stringing on the top like this. So I'm just running a small little bead just here at the top and press those together. The reason I'm doing that, so that, you know, not only that it looks a little better, it won't break off. And then my piece that I end up hanging on here will need something on the back side to hang on to, so. All right, so here's the back side of my sign that I've rigged up together. And I'm just going to make sure my beads are right on the edge on the front and just start to glue this down here. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this a little bit, just down to size here. Get rid of those pieces. I like to just kind of go over just the little ends right here. So that's pretty secure. We'll let this dry. And you can see on the back here, I had just hot glued these sticks. That's what's holding these boards together, is just these sticks. And then this is the little hook to hang it up on the wall if I choose to. I just used lots of hot glue and I braided some twine just so it was extra sturdy. So that should look pretty cool on the wall. Okay, so here's how the project's turning out so far. I'm gonna go ahead and sit down here on the floor and show you guys down here, just because I don't really have any space, you know, to show this. I can't really get the camera high enough. So anyways, I'm just gonna show you right here. I printed off this really cute printable. I'll leave a link in the description box where I got the printable. And I basically put it on my computer and inverted the colors. I think it looks so pretty like that. I'm going to be using this chalk marker and a ruler. And I'm going to be basically just copying this on myself. So wish me luck. But basically I want the words to be from like here to here. So what I'm doing is taking my chalk marker and I'm lightly sketching the letters out. And then I'm going back over the letters. The more you go over it, it's going to get more white. Okay. And then we should draw a little snowflake right in here. little asterisk, and then add these little dots on the sides of the asterisk. And that's our cute little snowflake. Very simple. You can always start down here at the bottom and do like year of time. Probably about right in here is where I'm going to start. So yeah, it's the most, and then time of the year. My letters are a little bit off, but you know, for just hand doing it, I'm not like terribly mad at it. Okay, and then we're gonna do the word wonderful in that like curved. It's the same type of font, it's just curved a bit weird. So I'm gonna try to start the W up here. I'm gonna go over this with actual chalk. Make this look a bit better. Okay, that wonderful, oops, really stands out a lot better. Okay, I think I'm done. Okay, so here is the palette Christmas tree. I'm gonna go ahead and string some lights around this, and then I'm gonna set it outside. Okay, so I just wrapped it pretty randomly. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So I'm gonna decide where to put it outside and plug it in. So right now I just put it up here. I think it looks kind of dumb. And only half the lights work. So I found some other Christmas lights that actually work. And a tip for rolling up your Christmas lights, you can use your leftover wrapping paper roll and just start wrapping your lights around it, so it's a lot easier to untangle them for the next year. And I'm gonna back up and show you like a little bit on when you, like if you make one of these pallet trees, you want to start from wrapping the top with the end of the lights and work your way down so that you can plug in the plug-in part towards the bottom. And sorry about my mess. Anyways, I'm just basically gonna stick it like back here and then wrap the lights around. And once I go around, it will like secure that in place so it won't go anywhere. But I'm gonna just keep wrapping all different directions. Okay. I wanted to show you guys like the different boards here. So I have several different ones. I was going to go ahead and cut these up and make signs out of them, but I don't think I'm going to really do much with them. I just don't have the time at the moment. So you can totally use these boards that were from that same palette to make several different signs. You could cut these down. I totally would cut them down and paint the words and everything, but I don't have the time at the moment. It's kind of getting too close to Christmas to not post this video, so I wanted to go ahead and just show you, like, you could do that. I did start one and then I didn't like it, so there is the idea. We saw the other piece over here, and this is all the same palette, and then that's the other palette. That's not the same palette, but you can totally make a cool little sign if you wanted with the palettes. And then we have the tree that's outside. I hope you guys enjoyed that video on repurposing an old wood palette. I think it's a super cool idea, and you could take one palette and turn it into several different projects, as you saw. So hopefully, if you guys give this a try, let me know. Maybe not for Christmas, maybe for, you know, a different holiday or something like that, or just projects in general. I'd love to know what you guys have created. I like using and upcycling pallets. As you guys know, you've seen my porch completely made of pallets, and my couch outside on the porch, pallets, the crate, pallets, the table, pallets, everything's pallets. So I just think it's really unique and fun, and it's free. You just got to put the work into it. All right, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.